As always in Los Angeles. Busy hour coming up for us. Whiteboard Wednesday. We have our arts and crafts in front of us, markers, erasers, probably most importantly, and a couple of questions on deck that Kyle has no idea what is to come.
Really? Oh, I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to talk about, Mike, someone born in the year 1981 who is trying to start at quarterback in the NFL, and it's a wonderful story. It has the potential to be the story of the year.
Let's go.
If you're thinking about Phillip Rivers, we're talking about Phillip Rivers, arts and crafts, and old guys playing quarterback. It's Good Morning Football right now.
Welcome to Good Morning Football, presented by Old Trapper.
That's right, GMFB, everybody, on a Wednesday. Lock in. Manti, Mike G, Kyle, and myself. We'll have a couple other friends stop by this hour. I specifically love the fashion choices of the gentleman in New York because nothing screams talking about Phillip Rivers and the resurgence than a great button-down with the short sleeve, Mike G, and then the classic dad button-down with the seasonal cross-check. Everybody just looks fantastic.
Just need the bolo tie.
That's true.
Likewise.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know one.
Should have gone with it. maybe for Friday. There you go,
Maybe
Mike
for
G.
Friday. If he starts, we'll get the bolo ties all around. Let's get more information on this situation that's unfolding that we're all kind of falling over ourselves about. With Tom Pelissero, NFL Network Insider, joining us this morning on a Wednesday. Tom, I would love to say it ain't so, but I kind of want you to say it is so. What's happening in Indianapolis with Phillip Rivers?
Jamie, it's a great day when a 44-year-old man gets to say a 44-year-old man is coming back to play in the NFL.
Tom.
Phillip Rivers, this is real. He is signing with the Colts practice squad and is expected to be on the practice field today. This follows our plenty of questions remaining about Phillip Rivers. My understanding is in that workout that he had on Monday night, Rivers' arm looked basically like it always has. He's throwing it well, but there's a lot of other things that go into the overall body and being able to withstand not just the repeated throwing in the game, but of course also getting hit. They're going to take a look and see how Rivers' body bounces back over the next couple of days. The Colts have still not ruled out Riley Leonard being able to start on Sunday against the Seahawks, though he has, what our Ian Rappaport reported, is a low-grade PCL sprain. At most, Leonard's status should be jeopardized for just this one game, but that leaves the door open for Phillip Rivers. Brett Rippon is also an option on the practice squad, but I think it's pretty obvious what everybody in New York and L.A. is rooting for, which is Phillip Rivers really doing this and being back on an NFL field as soon as this Sunday, Jamie.
Tom, thanks for all that info. It is an absolute marvel, but it's not because it's a unicorn of a situation. Rivers would be the 5th quarterback all-time to start a game if he does at the age of 44 or older, joining Brady, Testaverde, Warren Moon, and Steve DeBerg. So now that we know that it has been done before, it's just more that the Rivers experience as a whole with the personality package is one to behold. Mike Garafolo, get in here. When you heard this starting to unfold on Monday, and now we have a development in the case of this weekend, midway through the week, what do you make of this for the Colts?
The Steve DeBerg comparison is interesting because he was gone for 5 years and then came back. So it's similar to Phillip Rivers in him coming back. This sort of came out of left field for all of us, right, and the average NFL fan. It doesn't sound like it came out of left field for Rivers himself because over the last couple of years, and Tom's alluded to it and Ian has as well, there's been times where he considered a comeback and maybe even times that weren't as perfect as this Colts one. Just stuff happening around the league, and it was like, oh, could that be a spot for me now that coaching for the high school season is over late in the season? So he's been monitoring this. And this one just lined up so well, right? His relationship with Shane Steichen back to Indianapolis. Selfishly, or is this going to be something that's going to be beneficial for multiple people? And the answer in the end to him was yes, because Riley Leonard is a guy that he's mentored before. Shane Steichen is a guy that he has a relationship with. The organization is one that he has a relationship. So all this Manti had to come together for him to say, it's not just something that I'm doing because, oh, I'm going to do it on a whim. High school season's over, and let's see if we can do this. You're also, by the way, resetting that Hall of Fame clock. So to do that, am I doing this for all the right reasons? He made sure he went through all that and said, yes, I am. I'm going to sign right here.
Nice, Mike G. Knowing Phil, his number one thing, he's always been chasing that Lombardi. He's always wanted to have the opportunity to win one ever since he started as a Charger. But you talk about his familiarity and his connection to certain people on that team. When you look at the Indianapolis Colts and you look at what they have at the skill position on the offensive side of the ball, you look at their tight end, all of the wide receivers that they have, it's reminiscent for me of what we had in San Diego with Phil, and you had guys like Antonio Gates, and we saw how iconic that relationship was, him getting the ball to him, and then a slot receiver, he has Josh Downs over there. I saw it firsthand with my classmate Keenan Allen, and you had guys like Vincent Jackson, Malcolm Floyd, they have Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. So the thing about Phillip is he's no stranger to getting the ball to his targets. And the best thing about the Indianapolis Colts and how they're set up right now is they have a plethora of talent at the wide receiver position. And his mind has always been sharp. It's his mobility. And let's think about the last 4 games. They have the Seahawks, they have the Niners, they have the Jags, and the Texans. All of those guys will get after the quarterback. So I think when you're looking at this practice squad kind of segment of this period, they're going to evaluate his ability to get the ball out and get it out quick, because we know Phil, he wasn't really a big scrambler, KB, and he's going to have to definitely get that ball out quick with these 4 teams coming into town.
Is this the weirdest, most fun NFL season ever? This is so strange. The fact that we are here, and the idea now where the state of the nation is that Lamar and Burrow and Mahomes likely won't start a playoff game, but Phillip Rivers is going to start a playoff game in 2025, or a regular season game, maybe a playoff game. I don't even know. We should have known, Jamie, because before the first snap of this NFL season was even taken, one of the best players in the defending champs was ejected for spitting on Dak Prescott. And then it's been weird ever since then. It's never settled down. And I think this has this potential for story of the year. If Phillip Rivers starts a game, he plays terribly. I don't even care. If he's out there starting in 2025 for the Colts, let alone playing well, let alone in some miracle. Yeah, it was a couple years ago, I was talking to John Lynch. The Niners were interested in me, and I was talking to the Saints. And, this has all been talked about. I think this is something he's been interested in for a long time, up to and including to the point that it wouldn't surprise me if it comes out that he contacted the Colts. I don't know how it went down once Daniel Jones got hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if Phil called the Colts and was like, hey, do you want me? I'll come in for a workout. He's here. He's ready. He doesn't think it's a joke. He doesn't think it's a novelty. And I think a lot of us can look at him and be like, that's cool. You know, Manta, if someone asked me to do some clean and jerk or hang cleans right now, this would be my equivalent. I'd be terrified and I'd be like, I'm going to get hurt. But his version of that is going out and starting, and he's actually doing it. I'm inspired.
Mm-hmm. It's so true, because I figure once you hit your 40s, I'm not quite there yet, I'm just a couple years away, but you say things like, you know, oh man, you just don't bounce back the way you used to. But you have to watch him do this now, not only bounce back into the game, but also from snap to snap. And the Colts have a treacherous schedule over the next couple of weeks. Now, Tom Pelissero said that this might be just a Band-Aid for the one weekend, but if this becomes sensationalized the way that we want it to, maybe it's a more than 1 week experience. Manti, quick question for you, as I want to just pick everybody's brain once more about Phillip Rivers. Okay, it's Wednesday. He shows up at the building. If he has to start on Sunday, what do the next 3 days look like for this man walking in there, meeting people, greeting people, learning plays, and playing a game on Sunday?
Well, if he's meeting and greeting anybody, it's got to be his wide receivers, Jamie, because that's the people that he's going to have to build that relationship with and that rapport with. Listen, Shane Stott with Aaron Rodgers, where he'll get a play and he's like, no, we ain't running that. I want to run this. And so if you take into consideration Phil's history with Shane Steichen, there are plays that they're going to run over there that he's running the pass. There are plays that they're going to run that almost Phil has taught him. The biggest thing on a Wednesday, Jamie, is first and second down on Wednesdays, is getting that rapport with your wide receivers, because he's seen every route. He's seen every personnel. He's seen every picture in the game of football. It's all about seeing how Josh Downs runs his route, how Michael Pittman runs his routes, how their rookie Tyler Warren runs his routes. That's what he has to see. And until that happens, well, it's yet to be determined, Mike G.
To what Kyla was saying to that point about, you know, oh, you feel like you could, I could still do it. I can get in there. In 2013, I sat with John Elway for an interview at the time. He was with the Denver Broncos. as an executive. He was 53 years old at the time. And this topic came up because Brett Favre was 44, which is a pertinent number with Phillip Rivers. And Favre's agent, Buzz Cook, was saying that he could come out of retirement. He could play right now. And Elway expressed skepticism at the time. But I remember asking Elway himself, 53 years old, he said, I can still sling it. I can still throw that. The problem is, can I take a hit? Yeah. That's the problem. I could never survive that part of it. And the quote in there was, what we don't understand is that the body goes before the mind. The mind is always committed. It's that the body is not. So Phillip Rivers mentally is still in it and thinks that the body is still in it. And it might be. Who knows? We're going to find out here in the next couple of days and weeks. But that's the biggest part for him is it's going to start in practice. How do I feel after a full practice? Because maybe he's thrown it in high school. Maybe he's done a couple of drills with the high school. It's going to be a little different when you're doing it at an NFL level and then taking it into game day. Mentally, I'm sure he's all there. The body's going to tell him whether.
Those guys can all throw. I'm sure right now if we went in the backyard, Jeff George can throw. It's the moving and it's the taking the hits. But that's what's so special about this. Because, Jamie, you mentioned some names like Warren Moon and Brady. It's not just that he's old. It's the time away. We've seen guys who are very old still play. Tom Brady didn't go away for 4 years. It's the going away and the time together. It's also like it's endearingly naive what Mike is saying about I can still throw, and I'm sure he threw really well in the workout. But if you do anything like it's like a guy a middle-aged guy who just does bicep curls every once in a while. It's like, I still work out. And it's like, well, no, why don't you get down and do some burpees and see how fast you throw up? There's a different type of thing going on. And I just want to say this. I'm going to bring the room down here a little bit. Mike mentioned the Hall of Fame thing and everything. I'll just be candid. You guys know I'm a Hall of Fame elitist and a snob. I do not think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. And we can have a whole debate about that. It's not the point of why I'm bringing this up. It's just... It's very rare to get in the Hall of Fame as a quarterback if you've never even appeared in a Super Bowl. The postseason stuff is just not there. Put that away. If he does redo the 5-year thing, because he's playing in a game having gone away for 4+ years at 44 years old, I think that helps his Hall of Fame case. So even though he will have to wait for a new cycle, it may tip it in the eyes of some voters about, I was on the fence about Phil, but the fact that he came back in the Colts and did that, you know what, screw it, I'm going to vote for him. He's an all-timer. I think it might actually be something that gets him in, even if he has to wait longer.
You're already in a cluster, though, where it's like Eli Manning, Drew Brees, all these guys. Now you're taking yourself and potentially throwing yourself in with Aaron Rodgers and other folks.
There's always going to be traffic.
You're creating a logjam, right? And you're kind of getting yourself in there. So, again, that was part of the process here for him as he goes through this and saying, well, maybe I'm on a doorstep. Maybe I get in this year, and if I don't, now maybe this hurts me rather than helps me. But you're right, Kyle. If he does come back and he plays well, maybe that could strengthen the case. It's a fascinating discussion, and it's a fascinating thing that went through his mind, Manti.
I think there's also a case of, someone like Phil is looking at the current game and be like, man, I had to go through guys like Tamba Hali and get hit by those guys. And I remember listening to a podcast with Lawrence Taylor, and he's comparing Joe Montana versus Tom Brady. And he's like, man, you don't understand what Joe Montana had to go through. So I think there is a part of Phil that's like, man, I played it through an ACL in the playoff. I can play through this game, which kind of protects the quarterback a little bit. And so if I can just throw and spin the ball and I'm still sharp mentally, I guess we'll see how it goes, but, we'll all be tuned in, Jamie.
We are going to be tuned in, and all I have to say about this man and the fact that he has to go in there and introduce himself to the wide receivers, he also has to meet a couple of horrific pass rushers down the stretch that the Colts have to play. They have a crazy schedule. Seahawks, 49ers, Jags, and Texans. So Leonard Williams, Will Anderson, what have you. Phillip Rivers, we'll see what you got over the coming month. We love to see it, though. Coming up on GMFB, it's a Whiteboard Wednesday. Look at the Colts. My God, what are we going to do with them? The AFC fascinates us. But do you have a team that exists within that lurking column that you just